Game Freak created one of the most iconic generations of Pokemon. Some may describe this generation as the worst, but some may describe it as a key era that founded what Pokemon is today. I present to you Pokemon Sword and Shield, the 8th generation of Pokemon, and the last DLC we got for Pokemon. Sword and Shield was an attempt of breathing fresh air into the way we play Pokemon, with brand new features and styles of gameplay that we had never seen before. This in fact was the first ever mainline Pokemon game to hit the Nintendo Switch, so expectations were pretty much at an all-time high, but unfortunately the game received mixed reviews upon its release. Some players expressed disappointment with the game, citing various issues such as lack of content, repetitive gameplay, and graphics that were not up to par with other games released on a Nintendo Switch. Whilst other players expressed gratitude towards the game, thankful for the new overworld experience that the Galar region had to offer. But there were a lot more bad reviews than good. One of the most significant criticisms of the game was the limited number of Pokemon available in the game, as only a portion of the full roster was included in the game's code. This sparked outrage among fans, who accused the developers of cutting corners and prioritizing profits over fan service. Additionally, some players complained about the game's short storyline, stating that it felt rushed and underdeveloped. And this ultimately led to Sword and Shield becoming one of the most hated Pokemon games of all time. Despite the critics, many players still enjoyed Pokemon Sword and Shield, citing the game's accessibility and streamlined gameplay as positive aspects. Ultimately, whether or not the game was considered bad is a matter of personal opinion, and it's up to each individual player to decide whether or not they enjoyed the experience. And personally, I didn't find Sword and Shield too bad of a Pokemon game. Granted, it could have been a lot better, but it wasn't bad. Luckily, as a mainline Pokemon game, it featured constant updates from mystery gifts to raid dens, but the thing that kept the game breathing on its last lung were the online battles. These were a reason to continue playing and grinding the game, trying to get the best competitive Pokemon ready for online battles. Granted, there wasn't much variety of Pokemon teams when it came to ranked online battles, as the majority of people just brought the exact same overpowered Pokemon to their teams. So without the use of certain Pokemon, it was basically impossible to climb towards the top of the ranks. And personally, this deterred me from ever properly getting involved in a ranked space, which resulted in me leaving the game to sit by itself for a while. But then Game Freak released the DLC. Xavi have just launched the most amazing Team Rocket Pokemon merch ever. My two favourite pieces from the collection are the hoodie and the tee. They actually come together with a hat as a 3-piece combo known as the Pokemon Team Rocket box. The hoodie and tee both feature the OG Jessie, James and Meowth. The colours on these are perfect, as they match the simplicity of Team Rocket's colour palette, so you can casually wear these with whatever you want, whenever you want.
The quality is top notch. It is up there with the best brands you could think of. Trust me, I wouldn't wear it if it wasn't.
They've got an insane variety of officially licensed Pokemon merch available on their website, and with my exclusive code, you can save yourself 10% off your next purchase. Literally just put my name in the discount code section and you'll be good to go. Links will be in the description. Alright, back to the video. The DLC was split into two parts, the Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra. The DLC brought new areas, new Pokemon, new characters, and new gameplay features to the game, all for the price of $30. But was it worth it? The Isle of Armor was the first part of the DLC that we received, and it gave us a whole new storyline that focused on our training under the mentorship of Mustard, a former champion of the Galar region. The storyline involved completing various challenges and battles on the island in order to become a stronger trainer. The island also introduced over 100 new and returning Pokemon, including new Galarian forms of old favourites such as Slowbro, and new legendary Pokemon Kubfu and Urshifu. There were several more features that were added, and overall the Isle of Armor offered a wealth of new content for us players to explore. But I'll be honest, it still kind of felt underwhelming, although the new island's wild area sort of saved it from becoming a complete flop. You see, the wild area had so many cool Pokemon, and a lot of the Pokemon had cool features, like Sharpedo chasing you in the water, or the massive whale lord that only appears once prior to your interaction. But what I really enjoyed was that your Pokemon could actually follow you, with each Pokemon having its own unique animations, which personally were done really well. And this kept me entertained for a while, just before the second part of the DLC was released. The Crown Tundra. The second part of the DLC, which I think saved the entire game, the Crown Tundra featured a new storyline that focused on exploring the new area and investigating mysterious disturbances that were occurring. This involved interacting with various characters and battling new opponents in order to uncover the truth. Just like the Isle of Armor, the Crown Tundra also offered a lot of new features, and these features were incredible. It introduced several new legendary Pokemon, including the Galarian forms of Articuno, Zapdos and Moltres, as well as the new Regieleki and Regidrago forms. The Crown Tundra also introduced a new co-op multiplayer mode called Dynamax Adventures, where players would team up with others to explore dens and battle powerful Dynamax and Gigantamax Pokemon. This mode also allowed players to catch some of the new legendary Pokemon introduced in the expansion. There were several more new features, but those were the ones that I personally enjoyed the most. The wild area was beautiful and was designed very well, and my favourite part of the entire DLC had to have been the legendary birds. I genuinely struggled trying to capture that Galarian trio, and I wish the rest of the game was as difficult as those missions, because it brought me back to those good old days of grinding Pokemon without having literally everything just handed to you. But the real question is, was the DLC worth the $30? I'm gonna leave that up to you guys. I would love to hear your thoughts on the DLC. Please share your opinion on whether it was good or bad by leaving a comment below. Thank you for watching. I love you all.